Bismillah. Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. الحمد لله وكفى والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. أما بعد. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected shaitan. May Allah bless our master, Sayyidina Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, companions, and give them peace. All praise is due to Allah, for he is sufficient for us. Peace be upon his slaves, whom he has chosen. As to what follows, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're now tuning in into the Half Your Deen show with myself, Samira Abdullah, and our co-host. I guess he planned on coming anytime. He called himself getting back at me from earlier on his class, but he'll be joining us shortly. I don't know if it's gonna be towards the end of the show, middle of the show. I don't know. He cutting up, y'all. Okay, but wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, DJ. Brother Kwame and Brother Baron and everyone out there in Facebook and Yahoo, YouTube land. Please don't forget to share and like this video. Spread the word. like we have said a couple weeks ago when that shutdown occurred on the 3 platforms, um, we didn't want to be disconnected from you guys if it was to happen. So as you know, YouTube didn't get shut down because they weren't owned by Zuckerman. So I guess that's his name. Um, so if you don't have any access to Facebook, go to YouTube. So let me put our YouTube page here. And one thing I could say about YouTube is that you get notifications right away from YouTube. Facebook, it takes a minute. You know how you try to be the first one to give salams on the live? You seem to not be able to do that. It's because their janky algorithm doesn't allow you to, be quick on the draw. But YouTube, as soon as we broadcast, as soon as we go live, it notifies you. Only if you press on the notification button. So once you subscribe on Nerds and Man YouTube page, you have to press the notification bell in order to get that indication. As you can see right here. Oh, let's see. I don't know if y'all can see it here. I'm touching stuff. See at the top? See the YouTube little icons there? Alhamdulillah. And it'll come right out. Oh, another nope, it wasn't you, Baron. Nope, Brother Baron, nope. Another thing, like earlier today, one of our sisters, Nadir, was like, why I'm not the only one in the comment section. Everybody like to gravitate to Imam Naeem's personal page since the class is broadcast there. So if you notice that people are not talking, they are talking, but they're not talking under the same page. So everybody loves to gravitate to Imam Naeem's personal page, but you can watch the shows on, for instance, for HYD-Getting show, you can watch it on Nerds Man Institute HYD-Getting show page, YouTube page, and Imam Naeem Abdullah's personal page. The class, the Black lessons, and all those other classes, you can look at it under masjidalmumin of Pittsburgh page, Nerds Man Institute page, and the YouTube page. So just be aware of that. So don't think somebody is ignoring you. We're not. Just that everybody, likes to gravitate over to Imam Naeem's page. You know how you have that house back in the day, everybody go there, all the kids go to this one house because the parents is lax and you could just hang out and chill. That's Imam Naeem Abdullah's page for any classes. And he's sitting here, I see him, he's not even coming on. He's over here making faces. Y'all can't see. He think he get back at me. And I didn't mean to not be in class. I was in class, but you know how your computer like to update? Usually you have it scheduled to update like in the middle of the night. It did it while class was happening, so I couldn't do anything. But I was there and I answered some questions, but I'm still in the doghouse. So y'all gotta vouch for me. There you go. And tell them to have mercy on me. I didn't mean to not.
So your computer was updating. That's why you couldn't come?
Yeah.
But your computer allowed you to make comments while it was updating.
I was on my phone.
Oh, so you had a device. You comment on your phone. Your phone won't allow you to come in live?
I was on there to comment from my page.
See all that stuttering and hesitating? See, you caught yourself.
No, it would have been too much because my phone is already acting up. Again, I thought that was just me.
All right, man.
I got sad. I thought you guys didn't love me anyway. Mashallah. No, Brother Baron. You see him? He cutting up. See that? He cutting up. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. He cutting up. That's okay. I can carry my. I can hold my own. I can hold my own. He think he doing something. But anyway, before we start, um, today's show, as you see, getting to the heart of the matter is the topic of this evening. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, brother Hassan Ali. Thank you for joining us. I wanted to mention a couple of things before we start, as always. It was two things. It might be three, but I wanted to mention. It might be three. First thing I wanted to mention, um, something that I saw today. It was disturbing, and I had mentioned it on my page. There's a show on Netflix called Squid Game. Yeah, Squid Game, right? And it looks like it's innocent, but it isn't. And so, based on that, I saw on one of my friends, Sister Sakina, by chance, she said that her daughter received a text on the phone. And basically, this show, Squid Game, is about a bunch of people um, who owe money. They were either gamblers, they don't know how to handle their finances, so they are in serious debt. And so this man apparently came to each and one of them saying, hey, you can win some money just by playing the game, right? Seems innocent. So it only focuses on one character, and it shows you how he got to play this game. Well, anyway, to fast forward, one of the games, I didn't see the whole thing. It's like several episodes. Only seen the first one, and I didn't even finish the first one. One of the games that they were playing was red light, green light. Now you would think red light, green light. Most of us grew up on red light, green light. It's an innocent game, right? You know how it's played. Someone stands ahead of everyone, and they close their eyes, they cover their eyes, and they'll say red light, green light, 1, 2, 3. And when they say 1, 2, 3, they turn around, and the participants, they start rushing towards the person. But once the person say 1, 2, 3 and stop and open their eyes, you gotta freeze. You can't move. If you move, you are out of the game, right? Simple as that. You're out of the game. In Squid Game, it's nothing like it. They done messed up the game. They messed up the concept of the game. I'm even traumatized how they messed it up. So in this movie, this show, it's this like big robot thing doing it. It's a girl robot. And she's doing that. But when she's turned around and catches any of the participants moving, they shoot them in the head. Shoot them in the head. So they're killing them. So today I saw on, like I said, Sakina's page, that someone is texting people's phone, children's phone, telling them to meet them if they want to play this game. And tell them to meet them at a location. And if you don't, I got to read it to y'all. Yes, Squid Game. Let me read what it said. It says, hello, you have been selected to play in the year Squid Game. You will remain as player 790. Like each player has a number. Please meet us, and this has happened to be in Philly. Meet us at 15th and Chestnut on October 15th, 2021. Not coming will result in an automatic elimination. Be safe, and may the odds forever be favored. We'll see you soon. So I'm seeing in the comments several people's children has received that text. I don't know what they're supposed to mean, if it's a hoax, it don't matter because I know what it's based on. And the show itself is not appropriate. And so we as parents need to monitor our children. Our children, are bombarded with all these challenges, right? All these stupid challenges. Remember the cayenne pepper challenge, all types of different challenges, and they've been doing it, and so they follow. You got the crate challenge. Remember that just happened? How many people broke their legs trying to do that thing? And so now, based on this show, you don't want your child playing that. Whether it's a hoax or not, I'd rather be, right in assuming that it's something, right, than to, be wrong and, just letting it slide and saying it's not a big deal. Because our children are very easy to manipulate, and they are easy to be influenced by others, by their peers. So please pay attention to that, because it's always something. It's always something. They had some other challenge, some crazy challenge, a choking challenge, like choking till you pass out. How many kids died from that, trying that game? So we have to be vigilant about this. And I was very disturbed by this, and I posted this because you just don't know. Your kid might sneak out and goes to a location. This happened to be Philly. They may go to a location in their area and play this game. You don't know what they got waiting for them. SubhanAllah. So please be vigilant of that. The second thing that I wanted to mention, I had just happened to see it, is apparently in Tennessee there was a postal worker, and we heard the term going postal. Well, it happened again, but this time the postal worker complained that their supervisor was bullying them, and I guess they couldn't take it no more. So he killed the supervisor, he killed the customer service manager, the manager and the customer service supervisor. I forgot their titles. And then they killed themselves. So they're not even here anymore. And this is based on that they were bullied. This is an adult. I think he was an adult. And it had me, like thinking, like, working at the post office is very stressful. I remember that I used to be a postal worker. I was a carrier. That person was a carrier, the one that did that homicide, suicide, whatever you want to call it. And it was stressful because it was like I was in the city. I worked in Manhattan. So it seemed like the mail never stops. So I would have to go to work like 5 a.m. in the morning. And I would not get home until like 11 o'clock that night, just to do it again the next day. But not only that, you get 2 days off. So my 2 days off was at the end of 8, like I would have to work like 8 days straight before I get my time. Like within a two-week period, I would get 2 days off. It was crazy. And that was my schedule every day. Especially when you're new, you get the crazy schedule. Not only that, you don't go home till all that mail goes out. So that saying that they deliver every piece of mail every day, that there's no mail left behind, I witnessed that. It could be one piece of mail that was supposed to go to New York, that went to California, and somehow they was able to get it from California back to New York, and it come back in the station. Somebody had to take that mail out that day, that night. And it could be 10 blocks away. That one piece of mail, you better deliver it. And when I was working there, I would be in a building, and they used to bring like 50-pound bags of mail. Like it was nonstop. And I was one little person. And you know how buildings are in Manhattan. They're very, very tall. So they got a lot of mail, magazines, letters, first class, everything. So this man, complained. And according to his mother, he was being bullied at work. So imagine all that pressure from work And then you have to come into the station and having to deal with that. I don't know what the situation is. And when you don't show up, they say you are AWOL. Yes, it's like the military. So that was like my life. And I was making some good money. I couldn't enjoy it. I was tired. I was tired. And so he went to work. I forgot. I don't know when it happened, today or yesterday. He came to work and shot them in the head. He shot them and then killed himself because he couldn't handle the pressures. And the mindset of people these days is crazy. I was talking to my son, and he said on his job, people don't even stay. They don't even last a day. It's like people minds. You don't know what people are going through. Like, we got to be careful how we treat people. People don't even last on jobs. He said one person lasted a day, just came to work one day and said, forget it. I never understood. I could never understand that concept. I've never imagined that we would be in a situation like this. Like, you usually come on a job and you stay there for a minute, like a couple of years, just to get your feet wet before you, advance to another job or what have you. But people don't even stay on the job. People don't even want to work. And these companies can't keep jobs filled because of whatever the reason. Money isn't everything. You got to treat people right. Money isn't everything. Yes, I'm coming here to get a paycheck, but I do expect to come in and be treated, like a human being. And a lot of these companies do not treat you like a human being. They treat you like you're a piece of equipment. So I can imagine what this person was going through, having to deal with all the stress. And I don't know if y'all been worked as a mail carrier. It ain't okay. I come to work, like I told you, I come in at 5 a.m. So let me tell you what a day looks like. I get on the train, A train, go up to Bowling Green or whatever. That's where I worked at. I was working in Bowling Green, and they moved me in different places too. So anyway, by 6 o'clock, I get to work. I will have my uniform on, and you go to your station. They're bringing mail in by the truckloads, and you having to sort each mail for the street that you're assigned. So you got this shelf-looking thing is divided, by street, the house addresses by numbers, and you have to sort that for like 4 hours. So you do that. Not only do you sort that mail out, you may find some mail that don't belong there. So you may have a piece of mail that needs to go to another state. So you put that somewhere. So after you got everything sorted out, you have to tie it up, rubber band it, and put them in sections. So with me, I had a cart. So I would put some mail in my cart to get me started. Then you have to pack a big old belt, a big bag, 50-pound bag with the rest of the mail. You may got 1, 2, 3 of those. And someone will take that out at the destination where you're delivering. So I would walk to my route, and then waiting there is my rest of my mail. And I could not go home till it got finished. There's no such thing as, okay, it's time for me to clock out. No, you clock out when you finish that mail. And don't come back to the station and they have a piece of mail for somebody else's route. So whoever comes back, they got to be the one to take it out. They just said, here, take it. Anyway, this man killed these 2 people, including himself. I want y'all to let that sink in. Let that sink in. Yes, sort and deliver, sis. It's not done by itself. Now these days, they have it sorted where they put it together. The machines does it. But I'm sure there's some kind of sorting. But back then, you had to sort it each block. So if you live on, 52nd Street. So 52nd Street start with number. I'm just making up numbers. I know I'm jacked up. 515, 517, 519, 520. You had to do all of that for how many blocks. And I had to walk like 10 blocks to my route. So, I was healthy. I had to walk, right? Rain, sleet, or snow. That does not stop the mail in New York. I don't know about any other places that mail gonna get out. Subhanallah. Anyway, and then they got the nerve to pay the same amount of pay 20 years later that they paid me back then when I started. I said, that's ridiculous. They should at least be paying people at least $40 an hour. But it's the same pay. Slave labor. That's all you are. But just let that sink in. And I know a lot of you work. And I know it's like you deal with people. I'm not even talking about the customers or the outside. I'm talking about people that you have to work with and see every day. And they talk trash and they don't know how to talk to you and they don't know how to conduct themselves. And you having to deal with that. And you got your own life to worry about. That's too much. That's too much. You have but so much, dealings with people before you bust. Like I'm calling Imam. Like Dr. Sabir said, pressure pipes bust pipes. Yes, the pressure is real. Just being a human these days is pressure. Just trying to stay human is work. So I just want us to just be aware, be present, treat people kindly. No, not everybody gonna treat you kindly, but you're gonna have to navigate in a manner that it doesn't affect you so much. You're gonna need some kind of outlet. Maybe you have some kind of hobby or something. Do it, because it's bad. It's bad out here, and people are offing themselves more often than none now. It's that serious. Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh, Brother Isa and Sister Sophia. Thank you for joining us. So, whatever outlet, a halal outlet. Now, there are people have other outlets that are not conducive, like going to drugs and alcohol, smoking some weed, being real loose out there in the streets. No, do not recommend that. But if there's some kind of outlet, reading a book, just spending 5 minutes of quiet, whatever you need to decompress, do it. It's not natural. It's not normal living here. It's not. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there. Self-care is necessary. And these companies do not care. All they worry about is them dollars. And if you don't do it, they'll try to find somebody else to do it. But these days, they're not keeping nobody long enough. So they don't care who's in there. Look at that woman that was a nurse talking about that baby who had their intestines, was developed outside the stomach. And she gonna post on Instagram talking about, yo stuff ain't supposed to be looking like that. Something crazy, and they fired her behind. Good for her. I hope she'd never be a nurse ever anywhere in the universe. And you got people that just don't care. They just want to hire anybody. Mistreatment from other people causes a high level of stress and anxiety. Yes, and I have experienced that myself on the job. It's no joke. The third thing I want to mention, and I just happen to see it, is they're locking up our kids. They are locking up our children as early as 6 years old. You've heard, here and there some craziness, but there was a situation, I think it was in Tennessee too, I'm not, if not mistaken. It didn't happen right away. It was just something that came up. But some young kids in elementary school was locked up for watching a fight happening. Did y'all hear me? Some elementary kids were locked up, was arrested, was handcuffed, and booked because they was watching a fight. Our black children, our children, they don't care about our children. They don't see our children as children. Yep, we send them there to get an education, and that's a whole show in itself. Sending them to these places, they do not care about your kids. They're not waiting until they get older to send them to jail. They're locking them up at 6. Do you know what is a 6-year-old? I just can't fathom A 6-year-old being booked, handcuffed for watching, not participating in the fight, but watching a fight. You know how kids are. They're curious and somebody's fighting in the schoolyard. You're going to look. I've done it. You've done it. But this cop and this judge thought it was okay to lock these little kids up. So these kids going to have a record. I don't care if it's going to be sealed and all that stuff. And those things ain't really sealed. It's unsealed when it's necessary and when it's convenient. Right? Let's keep it real. The same laws that apply to us, to other people, doesn't apply to us. Let's keep it real. So this is setting, this is setting a historical precedent on your child. So when something happens in the future, they're like, hey, they got locked up at 6 years old. They already exhibited, signs of rebellion and, anarchy, and, they'll exaggerate those things. And I know from firsthand that this is true, because my son, who has a disability, and because of his disability and the teachers and the faculty didn't want to deal with him, told me straight up, we ain't gonna be dealing with that. We're gonna bring the police in. So guess what I did? I pulled him out of school. I said, you're not gonna do my son like that. I pulled him out. They begged me not to. I said, you're not gonna do that to him, putting in his record that the cops had to come and deal with him to subdue him and stuff. No, you're not gonna do that to him. And it's all because I wouldn't take their recommendations for medication. Now, everybody, I'm not saying, this is a blanket thing for everybody. Like, some kids do need medication. But my situation, he did not need medication. And they could not handle him. Up until this day now, he didn't take any medication. And he's still able to function, at his level, but he was able to function without that medication. They didn't need to do it. I told him, y'all need to figure it out. Y'all need to figure out what to do with him. Because what you're trying to do is make it easy for you. Not for him, and allow him to learn, just to make it easy for you. These people don't care about our children. That's right. They don't care if we don't stand up. Who will? Who's vouching for your children? Now, I just told you, a judge and the police locking up these kids, right? Those two positions, for the most part, you vote these people in. Like the sheriff, you vote the sheriff in. The judges, they're voted in. This is the arena in which you should participate in voting, in my opinion. It really, really counts. Because these people supposed to be serving you, serving the community, right? If you didn't vote them in, you don't know nothing about them, this is what you're going to have. They're going to lock your kids up. Now, alhamdulillah, the parents got together and sued, but that's besides the point. It shouldn't even happen. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. They settled out of court. I don't know how much they got. Whatever it is, it wasn't enough. Nothing is enough after having to traumatize my child like that. Yes, it is for profit. And these prisons are privately owned. So if they're privately owned, they really, really, really are looking for their facilities to be filled so they can get paid by the state in which they are located. So they're going to find anything, and lock people up, especially our black people. Like, I was looking at this trap queen. At the time, they said if you had, and I'm not condoning criminalization. I'm not. I'm just telling you what the law says. They said if you have 2 ounces of cocaine or crack or something you found, you get an automatic sentence of 10 years, right? They gave this woman 20. And they're like, why you gave her 20 when the law says 10? But they gave her double, I think, because she had 4 ounces, right? So she served like 7 because Obama had like a executive order to reduce the sentences, unfair sentences of a lot of prisoners, and she was one of them because she was upright, she was doing good, she wasn't causing no trouble, so she was on the top of the list. But these laws is whatever they say it is. This is you. We turn our children over to every day. Yes. You turn your kids to these people that don't care. These people are racist, a lot of them. They don't like black people, so they don't like your children. So what you think they're going to do? That's why a lot of our kids get passed on to the next grade, even though they didn't pass. They don't care. Just get them out the way. Just get them out of here. Get out of my hair. And so they in these upper level grades, what happens? They start cutting up because they don't know what's going on. They don't know what the schoolwork is about. And they lose interest and they start doing things. They don't even want to be there anymore. They don't want to be there no more. So they go out in the street. And that's another monster. So be mindful. That's why it's so important in what we're doing with the Black Imams Roundtable. We're trying to build. We're trying to build. We got to build institutions for us, by us, so we can protect our children, so we can protect our progeny. This is on us. This is on our shoulders. Because best believe them people, all they want to do is fill those jail cells. That's all they want to do. Fill those jail cells. And if they don't make it to the jail cells, they're going to kill them on the street. Barron said, I have proposed for years that each neighborhood find a teacher and pay that teacher to homeschool our children. I love that idea. We have to intervene. I wish I had the support. I'm all for it. I'm all for that. You pay somebody to teach your kids, not in the system. The system is already set for failure, for their failure. It is. It's rigged. It's rigged. There's not enough black male teachers in the system. So at least have some role models for our boys so they know what a man looks like. It's not enough of them. It's not enough black women teachers teaching our children. I believe that the black teachers should be teaching black children. But it's up to us. We got to put our money where our mouth is. We got to make sacrifices. Just like you go to work every day and sacrifice, you got to put your money up. Just like you pay your cable bill and your cell phone bill and all this stuff. We got to do that with institutions. We have to do that for ourselves. This is for us. This is for your children. And then you get mad when Ray and Qua get caught up in the system and saying it's not right. Free Ray, free Qua. It's our fault. It's our fault why they're in that situation. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it is our fault. Mary said, even without the disciplinary process they put our kids through, the curriculum that they put forth indoctrinates them with them into this Dajjal system. You are so on point. Look at what they're teaching our children. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Look at what they're teaching our children. Just yesterday, was it yesterday? That Superman announcement. Y'all seen it, right? I ain't even gonna say nothing. This is what we were raised on. Now look at what they've been raised on. Yes, I did hear about that, Sister Sakina. I was hot. I was hot. I was hot. It broke my heart when I heard her mom say that her daughter don't want to wear it no more. That broke my heart. That brought tears to my eyes because some devil want to violate her. Now I liken that pulling her hijab like molesting her. You touched her. Why are you putting your hands on her? I liken it to that. I liken it to that. Why are you touching my child? Why are you touching her? Why are you even imposing your feelings? Because people have their, things. And some of them don't know how to keep it under wraps. And we think because they smile in our face and all that stuff is cool. It's not. It broke me. It breaks me. Our children are not safe in these places. I'm telling y'all that. They're not safe in these places. So you got to sacrifice. Sometimes you're going to have to do what you got to do. You're like, I don't see a way out. Allah will give you a way out. You just got to you got to persevere, and you got to be sincere, and you got to make sure that your ibadah is on point. You got to make sure you're making your salat. You got to make sure that you're doing everything you're supposed to do in your power to worship Allah correctly. Allah got you. Making sure that you're eating properly, that you're treating people the way they're supposed to be treated. Allah got you. It's them little things, those fundamental things that will give us those things that we think is not in our reach. But we overlook that and thinking it has nothing to do. It has everything to do with it. And that's why we have to live near communities, live next to each other. Wherever you are, you need to have a group of sisters and brothers, families, and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. But everybody got to pitch in. Don't, put on the people that want to do the work and you just sit back. No, that time is over with. I can't stand that. You're like, okay, I'm down. Yes, I'm down. But you're not putting in the effort. You're not putting any time. You're not putting any money because you don't care. You need to go somewhere else with that. You're playing. Wa alaikum salam talabikatu, Brother Kenny. They're not teaching them. They're not. Okay, she said she got a lawyer. Inshallah, that they get their teacher's license revoked forever. And that they get disciplined for that action. Like I said, I liken that to be molested. Someone putting their hands on you without permission. Whether it's your head, your body, it don't matter. Hands off our children. That's right, child abuse charges. I would even take it further. Be enlisted on that sex offender list. I bet you they'll learn. Yes, we do need more Islamic schools for our children. And it's not hard. It's not. But we're not serious. We, like in La La Land, we think it's just supposed to happen because we think of it. Or some of us don't even care about our, children Islamic, foundation. Some of us don't. They're looking way ahead. I want them to go to a HBCU. That's what I'm striving for. I want them to go there. They ain't even thinking about if they know Allah and His Messenger slave or so. They don't care about that. I want them to go to HBCU because our family, family line. That's what everybody wants. What about Allah and His Messenger slave or so? Oh, That's on them. I'm not really worried about that. The Lord does what he wills. Like, if that's what they want to be Muslim, okay, but I want them to go to the HBCU though. I'm sorry if I'm, tacking some nerves. It's on purpose because I want us to really think. Yes, Brother Baron. Boys too. Look at that thing. I don't even want to say his name. The one that they keep putting out before the world with all these dresses and wigs and looking like sexual chocolate. You know how Eddie Murphy did sexual chocolate on Coming to America? That thing. This is what they're putting before our children's eyes to emulate. SubhanAllah. This ain't even what the show is today. But I think it's more appropriate. I might just do the other topic for next week because this is more important. We have to stop doing this for our children. Miriam said, I see it regularly. I used to homeschool before giving into work and provide. Yes, it's not easy. You're going to have to come together with other families, whether it's one or two, and don't allow it to be like on one person. One parent teaches math. Another parent teaches another subject. Another parent do something and y'all rotate it, right? And then in your state, you find out what is the laws in your state to homeschool and follow that, right? Send in the necessary paperwork to start the homeschool, and y'all do it as a collective, as a co-op. And then you can integrate Islamic studies. You can integrate those things, home ec. You can integrate, what's the other thing? Where you learn like a skill. You can do these things. You work it how you like. You work it how you like. This is your school. And just make sure that Allah's blessings is on it. Dr. Zabir says, try to become a friend of Allah, then you can achieve the full protection. Yes, we want to be a friend of Allah. What better friend can you have? Nobody can mess with you. When Allah is your friend, you are Allah's friend, SubhanAllah. And you follow the ways and the actions of his beloved Prophet Muhammad SAW, who was sent here as a mercy to us, as an example for us. Y'all better stop sleeping on him. Yes, Sakina, they undressed that child. So just imagine your little girl, your little boy, and some teacher take off their shirt. Say, you don't need that shirt on. Or take off their skirt or their pants. You don't need that. I don't like, matter of fact, I don't even like that kind of style. Why your mama bought you that kind of clothes? I don't buy that kind of stuff. They should buy you better stuff than that. Take that off. I don't want to see that. Feel like you don't need to wear that. I'm talking about the hijab, the kimon. That just broke me. And that child, can you imagine? She's going to be traumatized for a long time. May Allah heal her. May Allah heal her. And may Allah put into her heart that it wasn't her. It's their problem. Not her problem. And that she's doing this for him, not them. Do it despite them. Because they want to break us. They're not going to mess with the parents. They're not going to break you. They're going to break the children. They're going to break them in. That's why they're doing our boys like they're doing. They're breaking our boys. So when they get older, our girls will not have any more protection. And they're purposely switching the roles, so she don't have any protection, then I need to be the protection. See how the roles change? She become the man and he become the woman. Sophia says, why are women having to ask for mentors for their children? Why aren't we as brothers and sisters going out of our way to assist them and one another? Barakah is being thrown by the wayside as sisters and brothers suffer and struggle, mainly sisters. Yeah, y'all, why is it? Why is this happening? Why somebody got to beg? Why are people not just giving of their time? Because we're so consumed with the dunya. We're chasing this dunya as if that's the end goal, when we should be chasing the akhirah by means of the dunya. People just don't care, Sophia. You live so far away from me. If you were close, listen, it's a done deal. I know another sister in Georgia. She was doing the homeschool thing. If she was closer, it'd be a done deal. Nobody cares. They don't care. They so caught up. They don't care. So then we have to work even harder. And no one person should be working harder than they need to. It's not natural. Let me go back up here. Oh, somebody want to you muted.
So you got this, huh? I can check out, right?
You see how he is? See how he cutting up? You see how he cutting up, y'all? No, join in the conversation. This is something we're gonna hold off for the topic for today for next week. But we're gonna discuss this here. I'm just going through the comments.
I know what you're doing. You don't have to spell it out for me.
We need to have
this. No, you're going to take this. Go ahead. I'm giving it to you. No, now you can read. Go ahead.
We need to have Islamic schools that really care about our children and their education. Yes, we do. For our children, the Islamic schools should have black teachers and principals in them and administrators when it comes to our kids. Now, if other people want to send their kids to that school that are from other ethnicities, that's fine. But for our kids, the principal, the board, all that need to be black. That cares about our kids, because there's some black people that don't care about our kids.
When it comes to schools in our community, the Islamic community, one of the things I've seen in my tenure as being a Muslim, that even when our black communities have the good intention to do something noble, like start an Islamic school, we usually build according to someone else's model. In other words, we try to do it the way they do it. And we have to understand that we can't do it the way other people do it. Number one, the Islamic school model in this country don't even really work for the ones who are doing it, meaning the immigrant Muslims, right? Their model is, every parent, every student has to pay a certain amount of tuition, and that tuition is supposed to pay for the teachers, the school, the staff, and everything else, and it's always short because it would even be unfeasible for the immigrant Muslims, who are fiscally more well off than the African American ones. It would even be cost prohibitive for them. So then they have to supplement the tuition with yearly or whatever, however often they do it every year, fundraisers, right? And so most teachers in Islamic schools get paid even less than teachers in public schools. And teachers in public schools in this country don't get paid enough. So it's real bad. And so now you're dealing with us black people, in America, when we open up our Islamic school, we have to, number one, automatically understand that we can't follow that model. It don't even really work for them. So what about us in 2021, who most of us, the average one of us, don't make the same amount of money that the average one of them make? On top of that, a lot of us ain't motivated no more. The motivation in the black Muslim community ain't like it was 30 years ago or even 20 years ago. A lot of Muslims just don't care. They just on surviving mode, working by remote control. So those of us who do care about this, we have to have all of that in mind. And then, in my opinion, and I could be wrong and my idea could be tweaked, I think we should, in our areas, when we talk about educating our children, our school has to be some sort of a hybrid between a homeschool, an online charter school / co-op, meaning that the parents have to be actively involved. You can't dump your kids off, right? Number one, because we can't afford to pay teachers. So the same way as some of us are homeschooling and doing these online charter schools, we just have to do that, but we have to do it collectively. And so I think our solution has to be some sort of, amalgamation, some sort of combination of all of that. And we build from there. But just, okay, we're going to start a school and we're going to pay tuition. You're automatically going to exclude most of the black people that you intend to target because they can't afford to send their children to them schools. That's why most of our black Muslim children are in public school getting their kimars pulled off. Because if they can afford to go to a Muslim school, they wouldn't be there anyway, right? But I'm saying that because a lot of times we think, oh, we need an Islamic school. Well, they got one. How do they do it? Then we try to do it like they do it. No, we're not working with the money that they have. We're not working with the historical background that they have. We've been ripped from our Islamic history. So a lot of them, when they start their Islamic schools over here, they replicating what they know, what they come from in their countries. And we don't understand how education works in their countries. And so we don't even know how they work. And like in most Muslim countries, like it ain't like this country where if you don't go to school, you're going to, your children going to get a fine. I mean, you're going to get a fine or you might even go to jail. No, if you don't send your children to school, they just don't go to school, right? In most of these countries. So if the parents are really Islamic and they care more about the deen than the dunya, a lot of times in these Muslim countries, they send their children to Quran school for a long time, right? Maybe even to finish the Quran, become Hafiz. And then they may send them to Arabic school if the country is not an Arabic-speaking country. And they may be in some combination of that until they get, almost 16, 17, 18, and then start public school. So you might see a teenager or somebody even in their 20s in elementary school because their parents prioritize their Islamic learning. Or sometimes they may do both, depending on the kids. We don't understand that all of that is going on overseas. And so we just look at the immigrants who come here and just say, okay, let's try to do what they do. We can't do what they do. We got to do what we can do.
And another thing with these Islamic schools, and I'm sure this is in a lot of places, the Islamic schools only go up to a certain grade. Like it'll stop at 6th grade or maybe 8th grade. Then what? You got to send them to public school anyway, right? The purpose of you to send them to Islamic school is not to put them in there. But because the school only goes up to 6th grade, now I got to put them in public school. So you done undid whatever it is that you instilled in your children for the first 13, 14 years, right, of their life with Islamic, surroundings. But after 6th grade, 7th, whatever, that's it. So you got to be practical and you got to be realistic. You start off small. Maybe, even if you're not in the same locale, you have something online, right? Something regularly. Consistency is the key, right? Something online that you concentrate with the kids if you decide to do homeschool on your own. And let's say realistically, some of us have to work. That's fine. But you're going to have to donate your time outside of work towards your education of your child. That don't stop. That doesn't relinquish you from that responsibility. And it's hard. It's not going to be easy. But when it's a collective, all of it is not on you. And our kids need to be around other Muslim children so they can know what that looks like. They looking at that thing I told y'all about earlier, and they don't even know the difference. They don't know the difference. And that's what they strive for. So don't be surprised your son coming in with nail polish. And I ain't talking about, a manicure. You can have a manicure and don't have all that. I'm talking about nail polish with the stick-on nails and designs on his finger. And a pocketbook to match his shoes with the romper, with the butt out. I'm not exaggerating. So we got to start off realistically. If this is what you really want, get with parents. We're family here. Get with me. Get with Imam Naeem. All of us mostly have children. We got some kind of kids in our care, right? What can we do?
Another thing, and I'm anxiously awaiting, I have a sheikh working on a translation for me. It's a book, or really the book is really a fatwa given by Sheikh Yusuf Nabahani. Anybody know that name? You should know that name. Has anybody ever heard of the name Yusuf Nabahani? That name has been popping up a lot.
Wa alaikum salam to Nabi Kato. I saw some people come in. I apologize. Was just getting caught up. Like, I'm a parent, a Muslim at that. So this really hits home. I go, wa alaikum salam to Nabi Kato, Abu Mubwada, Sister Al-Rakia. Thank you for joining us. Let's see here. Underwater Life, that's not a name, but wa alaikum salam to Nabi Kato. We'll save that for next time. We're not talking about marriage on the show tonight. Save that for next week, inshallah.
Save what for next week?
About marriage.
Okay.
We changed up the topic on y'all. Sorry. This is more important, more pressing. Wa alaikum salam to Nabi Kato, Brother Kareem, and Brother William.
He's a very famous scholar, very influential. And he wrote a lot of books dealing with the rank of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a book on the prayers that you can do on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many books. But he came during the time period when the colonial period he came in the colonial period, and he witnessed where the colonialists were opening up schools in the Muslim lands, especially like Egypt and, like you said, Sham. And they were calling it, at the time, they were known as Protestant schools, right? And so, because these Muslim lands were controlled by non-Muslims for so long a time, the sentiment shifted, where the average Muslim family, instead of wanting their children to be various different types of Islamic scholars, because now there's no money behind it, because the colonialists claim that people are Muslim, but they remixed the whole economy now. There's really no function, and there's no money behind your child being an Islamic scholar. He can't feed his family being a sheikh. He can feed his family being an engineer or a doctor or something else. And those schools where you can be a doctor, an engineer, and all of these things, they are ran by the non-believers. And so, like in any country, in any society, if you want to get into those good schools, you got to start early by putting them in a good elementary school, good junior high school, good high school. then you get to that good university. So they were doing the same things. So the disbelievers set up these Protestant schools in these Muslim lands. And so Muslim parents were sending their Muslim children to Protestant schools. And obviously they were not only, being indoctrinated in those type of schools, but they were being seduced in their deen. In other words, they weren't openly talking against Islam in those schools, but by the time a child went through that type of education system, they were just Muslim in name only by the time they came out. And so this Sheikh, Yusuf al-Nabhani, he witnessed all of this going on, and he wrote a fatwa talking about how it is Islamically not permissible to send Muslim children to these schools to be educated by non-Muslims, because the end result in the education will that the child will be either not Muslim at all or not a very good Muslim. And so, alhamdulillah, I have somebody translating that for me. Alhamdulillah. And so, inshallah, when that's finished, it'll be published. And it's extremely relevant, because I think as Muslims living in this society, there are a lot of things that we know may be an issue, but we don't really think is that important. It ain't that deep. And this is one of those issues. And the reason why we don't think it's really that deep is because none of our leaders are talking about it. None of our leaders are making it an issue. But it's a very big issue. And this is the reason why we keep why we see what we see. That's why we see it. We raise our children, they are beautiful Muslim children, until it's time to go to school. And then what you've been doing for 5 or 6 years with your children, in 1 week is gone. Or maybe even earlier than that, if they hang around a certain other type of children, and now you don't even have to go outside of your house to get outside influences in your house, because we all have internet and all this kind of stuff. So it don't even take that long anymore. So, this is one of the big major issues that nobody's talking about. And those are the issues that we need to talk about, because the Sharia has come to protect and safeguard 6 things. And the first of those things is the deen, al-Islam. Is one of the Khuliyatul Sitta, is one of the 6 essentials for protecting your deen. And also one of those essentials is protecting hifzul aql, protecting your intellect. And we sending our children to these schools, and they destroying our children's intellect and their deen. On top of their honor, on top of everything else. I mean, it don't even stop. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do like you. I ain't going to rant for 40 minutes.
Nah, go ahead.
Nah. I'll rant tomorrow at 1:30.
SubhanAllah. And not to mention, a lot of our children are getting molested and raped at these institutions. They are being violated. We already mentioned about that person pulling off the khimar, but they're actually really getting violated because we don't know what's going on. We send them to school, put them on the bus, right? Drop them off, and then we go out on our way. And this person is like, it's like open season. Right, destroying their innocence. It's like open season. Every year, they can't wait, those predators. September's coming.
That's if they make it out the house.
I thought you wasn't going to talk till tomorrow. Go ahead.
That's if they make it out the house without being preyed upon. Or even worse, they get preyed upon in the house and then go to school and get preyed upon.
That's so true. That is so true. Many look down upon pursuing Islamic knowledge full time, but praise the secular knowledges. Yes. Yes, that's what I was saying. These these HBCUs, right? These historical black, what's that? Community, what's that?
Colleges and universities.
Colleges and universities, right? And that's all they like. I want to be part of the fraternity. Like those are what they want their children to aspire, right? So you can get a good job, right? That's all good. But when they get these big jobs, right? These jobs paying a whole lot of money, where that money going? It ain't going back to the community. It ain't building up an Islamic institution. It's not maintaining a masjid. It's not making sure that, the children that are coming up will have something, laid out for them. SubhanAllah. Let's keep it real. We don't care. We don't care. And that's in general. I'm not saying us. I'm just saying in general. We don't care. It's okay that our children are lost and that their future is, is damaged. It's like, I don't care. That's on them. They older. They can make their own decisions. I did my best. What did you do? You send them to public school.
And then we get older, then we complain about the children that we help destroy. These young people, they don't have no respect. I did the best I can do. I went to work for 8 hours and I dumped my children off in school like everybody else. I did the best I can do. See?
And listen, it's a hard pill to swallow, and it's okay. The first step in changing a thing is admitting that you have a problem, right? Let's stop denying it. We did a horrible job in general. We did a horrible job. Now we got to fix it. We got to fix it and hope that, inshallah, Allah have enough mercy upon us that he said, you know what? Just like that man that killed 100 people, I allowed mercy. I forgave him. I will do you the same because you changed the trajectory of your children's destiny. You made sure that you laid down, a different, scenario for them to be successful. I grant you success. We don't know, but you got to try somewhere. You may not see it in your lifetime. You don't know. SubhanAllah. Marin said, I graduated from an HBCU and pledged Kappa Alpha Psi. It was there that I saw indoctrination into drugs, sex, hedonism. Do not get it twisted. Bring it. Bring it. We want to make it all flowery, like it's all good. And it's lies. We want to make it like it's lies. We know that when our children go into college, they're indoctrinated with atheism, witchcraft, all types of Buddha Huda up in that piece. There's no God in there. They make you question God. They make you question your whole existence. They make you question the existence of everything that Allah created. Don't get me stepping. I'll stop. I'll get it started. I'm looking at him. He was stepping with them cans.
There is one God that they do acknowledge, though. They just don't call him God. And that God is Hawa, the desires.
The Sabir said, this is the real statement. Do you really love your children?
We don't even know what love is. So the question can't even be answered. One way that we learn about what love is, because a lot of times we got to learn what love is. We got to take a class on love. We think love is just this weird, mushy, unexplainable feeling that we have inside. You want to know what love is? Pick up the books of the rights that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is owed. One of those rights, one of the obligations that we have with regards to loving, with regards to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that we have to love him. And once you know what that is, then you go from there and you say, okay, what are they saying are signs of loving the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Then once you understand that, then you go from there, then you transfer that to everybody else you claim to love. Right? Like, for example, it is said in Hadith, one who loves a thing mentions them often, right? That's a sign that that you love someone. You hear people that never talk about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam because they don't love him. They don't even know nothing about him, right? Somebody loves something, they're going to talk about it a lot. And listen to what people talk about. Sports, this and that. That's what they love, even though they deny it, right? That's what they love. One sign that someone loves the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is that they love everything that's connected to him, especially his family, right? Transfer that to your children. You love anybody that's connected to your children. You love their family. And if something hurts them, it hurts you the same way. All of these things, like there's mentioned in the Shema'il the Shifaf called the Iyad. Just transfer that, because a lot of us, we don't know what love is. Okay, I'll give you a look up in the Shema'il the signs of loving the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they're listed. List those things. Now transfer those things over to other things that we say we love, and then use that as a measuring stick.
SubhanAllah, we don't even love ourselves. You can't even love. You can't love nothing else if you don't love yourself.
Yeah.
And in SubhanAllah, love and hurt for them. The true love come after the lessons were learned.
Yeah, I learned a lot of lessons. And if I could go back and do it, there's a whole lot of stuff I wouldn't do.
Woo-wee. Wa alaikum salam to brother Levon. Abdul Rahim. Is that Abdul Rahim?
Yeah. Wa alaikum salam.
I didn't know your Muslim name, brother Levon. I just see Levon, mashallah. SubhanAllah. Yeah, we gotta connect, network. Everybody else do it. Look at all these Christian homeschool. They got it locked down. It's a whole lot of resources. Like they got the game locked down for their children. They'll play.
That's a good point you made. I learned how to homeschool legally from Christians, because in most places you can't just go it's a little bit easier now because the internet is more widespread, but before you couldn't just learn how to homeschool in your city or your state. It was almost like a secret. It's almost like you had to take a blood oath in the Masonic Lodge to figure out how to homeschool your children. But it's these Christian organizations that stay on top of it, because they recognize that even for them, serious practicing Christians, and most of them are white, right? Black Christians just like to listen to good music and stuff, right? And wear tight dresses to church. But a lot of serious Christians, right? They serious. They know that school system is designed to destroy their children and to undermine their authority. They're very clear on that, right? And so most of these homeschooling organizations and legal defense funds and all of these things is run by Christians.
Yep. SubhanAllah. That is so true. So you gotta go there for guidance. Is there any official Muslim Aql Sunnah homeschool network out there in the United States? Like it's a network, like a real network. Like they got the resources, the legal team, the everything that you need to be able to start one. Is there one in existence in the United States that any Muslim can look up online and contact them to start it? This is even true with those that have, addictions. You got to go to the NAA program, right? Isn't that Christian based?
NAA.
Right? You got what's the Melody one?
Melody Islamic.
Right? That's one. But I haven't really seen it like really active. But these things are needed. So you have, Muslims having to go to the NA to get clean, and that thing is Christian based. It's not
And
Islamic based.
I just remembered too, while we're
What?
talking, I just remembered that the history of public school in this country is a history of beef between the church and the state. You know, if you go up and look at the history of public education in this country. The first public schools, the children had to be marched out of their parents' homes at gunpoint. I believe it was in Massachusetts. I forgot what city, right? But they literally, I don't know what at the time, the National Guard or what, I forgot. But they had to send military to people's houses to get children out of the schools and out of the church schoolhouse and into the public school. That's why history is so important. Because when you understand how something started, right, and who was against it, who started it, and who was for it, and everything, then you understand what the purpose or the intention behind something. And like a lot of us, we don't like to learn anything, not even our deen. Nobody forced us at gunpoint to become Muslim, but when we become Muslim and don't care to learn about that which we say that we believe in, and the environment around us, and why things are the way they are, and how they got that way, and who made it that way. We just don't care, you know. And so I just
Subhanallah.
remember that, when we were talking, like, subhanallah.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Like things doesn't just pop up and just happen. It started from somewhere. And we have to be careful also of those revisionist people. They like to rewrite history and
Yeah,
make you think certain things was like this back then or what have you. You're like, wait a minute, where'd that come from? Well,
because you
how
got
can you refute it if you hadn't studied or even cared to even know what it was in the first place? You have nothing to compare it to. You just go by what they say.
because you got to remember, historically, at least in this modern era, education always came through the religious institution, right? It came through the church. It came through the rabbinical schools, right? You had, you know, uh, what they say. It wasn't really until Islam, what I mean by Islam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the final revelation, that education was taken from the religious leaders and also made obligatory upon everyone. Talibul ilm furidatu ala kulli Muslim. Seeking knowledge is obligatory upon every Muslim, right? So every Muslim, even if you're not trying to become a scholar, there's a bare minimum, there's a baseline level of knowledge that you have to have as a Muslim to be considered a good Muslim. You need this basic level of knowledge. Anything less than that, you're just playing, right? Before that, no, you stay ignorant. We want you to be ignorant. Our religious leaders, we have all the knowledge, and you can't get it if you ask for it. And really, you have to be born in a certain family even to get access to it, right? That's the way it was. And you really don't understand the history of Judaism or Christianity unless and until you understand that. And so that came over to America, right? White people used to educate their children in their little churches and everything like that. And so they came, this around the time of the French Revolution, right? They trying to secularize everything. They trying to split church and state. So they like, no, education needs to be done by the state. And people like, nah, man, we Christian. No, education, I want to educate my children. It's my responsibility. And like, oh, no, you don't, right? And so we went back and forth until we see what we see. But the deep thing about it is they're real smooth because nowhere in any law does it mention, federally, that being educated is a guaranteed right. It's only when you get down to the local levels where education is enforced. But federally, no, it's not.
SubhanAllah. So you see, we got work to do, y'all. We have work to do. And because this was brought up here and you witness it, everyone that witnesses, It's incumbent on you to do something about it. Is that serious? Is that serious? You have to do something about it. At least try to, work it in your head. Like, how can I make this happen? How can I bring this into fruition? How can I do that? You got to start off small. You don't want to bite off, too much, and you can't maintain that. Start off small. If you know anyone in your locale, even if they're not in your locale, you reach out to someone and say, hey, I'm thinking about whatever it is that you want to do, right? I want to have a reading with my children or what have you, right? And you organize that, whether it be online or in person at the masjid. You start off small and you be consistent. And you'll be surprised how that will grow into something else. Allah will open it up for you. But you gotta take the steps. You gotta initiate. And once you initiate that and it start growing, then you gotta be consistent with it and don't stop. We have a bad habit of starting stuff and stopping in the middle of it. Or when things don't go my way. Or I just don't feel like it. Or it's just not going in your favor. It's not about you. It's not about you. You understand? And when you do this, you help your kids because they get to fraternize with other like-minded people. You are of the company that you keep. The Prophet ﷺ tell us that. You are so if your kids is around other children that talks about that thing I told you about earlier, that's what they're going to be about, their mindset. And they're going to campaign. They're going to defend that mess. And what you going to do about it? You can't do nothing. They ain't going to listen to you because this is what they're exposed to and you allowed it. How could you, have any objection to it? You understand? How can you have an objection to it? So we got to start somewhere. Start small and build. Like those of us that know each other for the most part, we need to find out, what our families look like. I'm talking about the children, their ages, so we can match up and do something. You know what I mean? Like if you have children that's from, a certain age to a certain age, and you match up with, a family that has that same age, y'all try to work out stuff and be consistent. Even if it's just once a month or something. You know how they used to have back in the days, like pen pals used to write, right? Your pen pal, you write a letter and you get a letter back. Do something like that. Or you can have a chat, pen pal or what have you. I don't know how you would work it. But allow our children to fraternize with one another around other Muslim children. And yes, some of our children you got to watch out for too. It's unfortunate, yes. But they got to be shown an example what it is to be Muslim, how it is to be kind, considerate. It ain't just about you. It's good to share. It's not good to be mean or talk, or call names and things like that our kids are accustomed to hearing at school. Things like that, just the simplest things. You never know how that would, rub off on them. We want our children to have, good characters. What you
And
got to say, Habibi?
also, there's one thing that we leaving off the table, and nowadays we always leave it off the table. And it's one of the things that always granted the Muslim success in every place and in every time, and that's hijrah. A lot of times when you say hijrah, everybody has something different in mind, right? Most Americans, when they hear hijrah, they think of hijrah equals leaving America. And that's not always the case. It don't have to be the case, right? And I don't want to get all technical about Hijra, where Hijra is mandatory from and where Hijra is mandatory to, and what are those things that are excuses or reasons for not making Hijra, migration from one place to another. But remember, we've been talking a whole lot about the companions Hijra from Mecca to Africa. And as Muslims in general, we're going to always talk about the Hijra from Mecca to Medina. Hijra is a tool. And even I can show you examples where Muslim groups and even pseudo-Muslim groups, right, made Hijra and were successful based upon the Hijra. You may be living in an area where, there's nothing going on. And you don't think that you have what it takes to start something, to get something popping on, whether it be a masjid or a community. It may be, because maybe you may be the person that be like, you know what? I think I could get something started. I think Allah will give me success. Well, you should do it. If it's not being done and you can't join in with whoever's doing it, you may be the one to start it. But you may also be the person that be like, I ain't that type, I don't have that type of personality, or I don't have the knowledge, or I don't, whatever, right? So you may be the one that need to make Hijra. Because I guarantee you, all of the communities that are doing something, all of them will tell you the same thing. It don't matter how many people come for Salat. It don't matter how many people come for Juma. There's only a small fraction of them that's actually doing anything, right? I'm sure Imam Amin will tell you the same thing. I'm sure Imam Fahim will tell you the same thing. What all of our communities are waiting for is people like you that are not in a community yet. Some of us may have to make Hijra to Atlantic City. Some of us may have to make Hijra to Camden, New Jersey. Some of y'all may have to make Hijra to Pittsburgh, because you already know what we're about. You already know what we're trying to do. Well, all of these places don't have enough people that want to do it with the few that's doing it. A lot of you are scattered all over the place. And you're saying there's nobody here doing it. Well, make Hijra to those who are doing it. And I can give you many examples. I just don't want to give you any now. But I can think of very recent examples where people did that. People made Hijra, they packed up and they left where they lived at, and they moved to where it was going on at, and they contributed. I myself am one of them. I keep saying, I'm not from Pittsburgh, I'm from New York. I moved here. Something was going on here. I came, right? So I understand that process very well. A lot of us, when we're having these conversations, that's not being mentioned. And this is what gave the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam strength, is how the Sahaba protected their deen, is how the Muslims got strong. Hijra. And nowadays, nobody talk about Hijra. But even 20, 30 years ago, everybody was talking about Hijra. And everybody had something different in mind, depending on what group you belong to. To some people, Hijra meant, I'm going to Egypt, right? Or Hijra meant, I'm going to Saudi. To some people, Hijra meant, I'm going to East Orange. Right? But in all of those cases, while, naturally, I won't agree, if you know what I'm alluding to, right? I won't agree with that. But if you look at what the Hijra produced, it produced what it was supposed to produce. Being scattered, it's okay, yeah, it sounds good, but at some point, you got to concentrate that force. You know what a laser beam is? A laser beam is a whole bunch of lights concentrated into a beam where it can cut stuff. You know how you go on, when you scroll down your timeline on Facebook, they got the thing tweet, boy. I be seeing videos that I never clicked on, but it knows if I when I was scrolling, I stopped for an extra second. If I scroll down on my timeline and I stop for an extra second and look at a video, I'm going to steal a whole lot more of those videos. Right? They know. You don't even have to click on it no more, right? But in any case, one video that I saw a whole lot was they got this thing, it's water, high pressure water, and they're using it to cut stuff. To cut wood, cut metal, cut all kind of stuff. Water. Why? Because it's concentrated. It's all together and it's coming out hard. And so we have all of these scattered, hey, we good, yes. We scattered, we all over the place, and we one big 3, 4, 5, 3 family and all that, and all that's good. I'm not knocking that. But some of us need to concentrate. Because in all these places where we at, it's a few of us, and it look like, we, alhamdulillah, Allah's blessing us, but there's a whole lot of people that's physically here that don't care nothing about what we're doing. They think what we're doing is wrong, and they wish we go the other way. But all of you who are out there in different cities and all that kind of stuff, you might need to make hijrah. 2 or 3 families coming to these different cities that's already on the same page, a whole lot of stuff can get popping off. A whole lot of Islamic schools can get started. A whole lot of trade schools can get started. A whole lot of stuff can get started. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. That was an excellent analogy. That laser beam, that water cutting, because the concentrate of many into one, coming together as one. And that's what's going to happen. That's how families are built. Maybe, my single sisters have to move to another part of the country to get married. I noticed Abdullah said there's a lot of Muslims in New York. I'm from New York. It is a lot of Muslims, but I don't know how to say it. If there is a concentration of Muslims, it's for those people. You understand? Like in Queens, you have a concentration of Muslims. They're from whatever country they come from.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, Bangladesh. So it's like you have those pockets, and if you find your peoples, you get with them, right? You get with them, right? So with us, and I'm not saying specifically Pittsburgh, you get with who's going that distance or have the vision that you have, and help build with them. And once you do that, just like you had mentioned about the Prophet ﷺ and the Hijrah to Medina, it wasn't just them going to Medina. What did he do? He assigned brotherhood. He assigned people to one another. That's what strengthened it. They could have just made Hijrah and everybody lived there. This person got partnered up with this person. This person was willing to give up for this person. We got to sacrifice. That's part of sacrifice. That's really real Muslim brotherhood, sisterhood.
And I just want to emphasize, because I'm looking at the comments, some of y'all get it. I'm not saying just Muslims just so happen to live in the same city or the same neighborhood. No, they got to be on the same everything. Not say everything. I don't mean everything that y'all got to eat the same thing for dinner, right? No, I'm talking about like the same methodology, because we come from New York where there's a lot of Muslims, but everybody doing something different. And New York really ain't a lot of Muslims if you think about it. New York's really not a lot of Muslims. It seems like a lot of Muslims because there's a lot of people in New York. New York is densely populated. Per capita, Philly got more Muslims than New York. Just numerically, yeah, New York got more Muslims than Philly. But Muslims per capita, Philly got way more than New York. And I lived in both places. It'll be easier for you to see a Muslim in Philly than it is for you to see a Muslim in New York.
That's true.
And that was a great point that you was starting to make, right? It's not enough to, okay, I'm just going to live around the Muslim. No. We have to live close to each other. We have to be on the same page, methodologically, Islamically, right? We have to be part of the community. We can't be inconsistent. Like you were saying, being consistent, right? We're not consistent. A lot of times we just fall off. We just fall off for about 6 months, come back around for another 3 months, fall off for another year. That's how we do, right? And then, you know, you can't ask about nobody because nobody wants you in their business, right? So you're wrong for not asking for them, checking on them. And then when you try to check on them, you're all in their business, so you can't win.
So y'all gotta have like minds. So like nothing is off the table. When I say nothing is off the table, meaning you have your private, you understand? But you're like a family, right? You are in each other's business. Not because you want to be nosy. I'm concerned with you. Maybe one person is making more money than the other person, right? And is able to assist. You have a shortcoming somewhere. Maybe it's something, a skill or something that you need to learn that you wouldn't be able to get it on your own, but somebody in your group, in your Jamaat, is able to assist you with that and teach you. We're talking about that, those things.
And those things need to be taught too. Let me just give you an example of how far we are mentally from that. That's why this stuff has to be repeated often and often and practice and practice. And when I start to say what I'm about to say, you're going to know what I'm talking about, Samira. Remember, I used to work for DirecTV? I was a cable man. You know, when most of us, if you work for any company, there's some type of benefit, right? So as an installer, they always had different specials going on. But many times, if I was able to convince you to get DirecTV and you called or you went on the line and you used the code I gave you, right? You will get some money, sometimes a gift card, some money, and I would get some money for bringing you on, right? And so, and a lot of times it was like real good deals, right? And so I would always tell people, hey, yo, if you about to get, you getting cable, get DirecTV, get it through me, right? Because I make some money and you can make some money. Do you know 100% of the time I seen people get cable and DirecTV and Dish Network? I'm like, hey, you're just getting cable? Yeah. Why you ain't tell me? I could have got you. Oh, I forgot. Like you messing up the money for yourself and you messing up my money, man. I could have got $150 and you could have got $150. And don't say that's not a lot of money because we all broke. And so don't try to front. $150 is money, Richard, right? Right. But anyway, oh no, I forgot. We don't think like community. And so it's not enough for us just to come together. We have to start thinking about it. I need something. Maybe I can get it through him. And so by me getting that from him, I can help him out and help me out because he's going to hook me up. Or if there's something I don't know about, he's going to put me onto it, right? But we don't think like that. Oh, I need this done. Like, man, my lights, my outlets ain't working. I need an electrician, right? I happen to be an electrician too, right? Right? But I'm an electrician, and you just sit there and you let him go and get an electrician out the phone book and pay him like, if he gonna pay the electrician like $150 just to come up there and see what the problem is, then he gonna be paying like $20, $30 an hour for him to do the work, and he gonna take extra long, and I'm sitting here right here, right, collecting unemployment.
That's right here. So essential. Being on the same page is even in morals and values, character, and honor as a whole. This is so important because the problem is it's not about we don't trust. We be doing dirt and don't want nobody to know the dirt we be doing. It's easy to be way out in West Bubba, right? Doing your thing, right? You online, alhamdulillah, this is beneficial, as a Muslim, yeah, mashallah, may Allah bless
All
this.
philosophically Islamic and deep.
Right? All this, right? But you over there doing whatever you ain't supposed to be doing, right? We talk about hijrah. Nah, we ain't got to do hijrah because you don't want to be exposed. Perhaps this will allow you to clean your act up. You be around other Muslims, it may make you stop doing what you're doing. Right? It may make you stop. That's the benefit of the hijrah. Your brothers and sisters around, you don't want to disappoint Allah, you don't want to disappoint them, and you know you're not supposed to be doing it. Perhaps my brother and sister would keep me in check. But that's what we're supposed to be doing.
We don't want to be kept in check. We want to stay sick. I told you the story before, how I found out that, when I went from Rikers Island to upstate New York, shortly thereafter, I found out that the dorm that I was in, the COs turned that into a Muslim dorm. I was a new Shahada, so I'm not even thinking about the impact or what have you. I'm just, we got an elder Muslim in the dorm with us, and he's teaching us Islam, and he talked to the COs to let us use that spare room, outside the dorm to do our classes, so we won't be getting disturbed with all the noise, right? And so I'm just happy I'm learning my deen. I learned the rest of my salat, how I'm learning all of these things, right? And I'm not realizing while this is going on that the COs is getting dawah, the correction officers that's in jail, prison, right? And so out of them 3 shifts, right? 2 or 3 shifts. I think it's 3 shifts, right? I think at least half of those officers took Shahada, because you have like 2 COs in each shift, right? So there's at least 6 COs, and I think they used to have a floater, I forget. But I think at least 3 of them COs took Shahada after, I got transferred upstate, started doing my time. I didn't know all this at the time. So, but this is a direct result of their interaction with us. And so those COs who normally work that dorm, they talked to whoever they needed to talk to, and they made that a Muslim dorm. Meaning when you come into C-74, right, which is the adolescent house, but that particular dorm that we was in was for people, adults and everybody who was, just waiting to go upstate, right? So they was like, you got to be Muslim to come in this dorm. And so when you would come to the jail, right, the 4 building, right? Everybody in New York know the 4 building, C-74. They would ask you in reception, are you Muslim? Yes. And they would know it's on your record, but do you want to go to we have a bed open. Do you want to go to the Muslim dorm? So I heard about all this. I'm hearing about all this upstate, right? I didn't experience it. I'm hearing that Muslims is like, no, I don't want to go to the Muslim dorm. Can you imagine being in a dorm, and people that have been in prison know, because they like cell block is supposed to be more scarier and more dangerous than dorms. But in actuality, dorms are more dangerous, because dorms, you got 50 people that got access to stabbing you up at any time. When you sleeping around 49 other people. That's if they don't double bunk, right? So you could be sleeping with 100 people if they double bunk. That can just wake up in the middle of the night and stab you, right? You're not just in a cell by yourself. So it's actually more dangerous, right? But in any case, right, you mean to tell me you got a dorm, and everybody in that dorm is Muslim, and y'all making 5 salats in congregation in that dorm with the COs, right? You're having classes. That's like Jannah to somebody that's in prison trying to practice their deen. You mean to tell me everybody in the dorm is Muslim? Even the police is Muslim? What? You're right. I was hearing about that. I was like, man, maybe I can appeal and go back to the island, right? And go to the Muslim dorm, right? Subhanallah, right? So I'm hearing about all this, and then I'm hearing about Muslims not wanting to go to the Muslim dorm. And so I'm hearing all this. I'm like, why in the world would a Muslim not want to go to a Muslim dorm in prison? Why? It's obvious. But I'm like, and I ain't why you think. Some dudes don't want to wake up for Fajr. You in a Muslim dorm, everybody getting up for Fajr. Some people don't want to wake up. Some people still want to mess with them alphabet people. That was before they had alphabets. That was before the introduction of the L or the G or the T or the B, right? It was before all of that. Some people still want to, what we used to call juggle. What's juggle, right? Jailhouse Reba, right? I got 1 pack of cigarettes on me, right? You need cigarettes. Commissary is a long way away. I'll give you 1 pack of cigarettes today. When you go to commissary, you give me 10, right? Or 5 or whatever they charge you, right? Right? Or, right, you you want to get drunk or get high, right? You want to do all the haram stuff, right? That's why you don't want to be in the Muslim dorm. And that's why you need to be in a Muslim dorm. Because you should want to get away from that stuff. And being around, that's why being around Muslims helps you can stop that stuff. Well, a lot of us love being sick. It feels good to be sick. And so we don't want to be around other Muslims that hold each other accountable. Or if we're around other Muslims, we just want to be around other Muslims that got the same disease we got. So we don't want to change.
Tell it. Tell it. Say that again.
We want to be around Muslims that got the same disease we got, so nobody will hold each other accountable. We don't want to change.
SubhanAllah. That is so profound.
And this is why we need to be around each other. We keep each other strong. I'm not going to talk like that around you. I'm not going to say that around you. I'm not going to do that around you, right? And this is part of purifying the heart. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, if I ain't going to do it around you, that means I'm being fake. No. That means you recognize that you're sick. And like the Shaykh who said in Umdatu Bayan, when you talk about purifying different diseases of the heart, you keep doing it unnaturally until it becomes natural.
Allah.
You keep, of course, it's going to be, you used to sinning. Okay, we understand that. No, you're not being fake. You're being real with yourself. I'm going to do the opposite of what this disease teaches me, unnaturally, robotically, by force, consistently, long enough, and until it becomes a natural part of me and it's normal. It's not fake anymore.
SubhanAllah. And by having that sickness, and those that do not have that sickness, they're obligated to be your support, right? Not to put you down, but to support you, to keep you going, to do right, and not to judge and shun you and all that stuff. So we're obligated to keep your honor. You know what I'm saying? You know, to preserve your honor. I want to address this here before we go, inshallah. She said, before I move, I need a solid plan and assistance, prayer, istikhara in the affirmative, etc. Will have give clearance to override a history of disappointing experiences. Sorry, just being realistic. That's a huge sacrifice in this climate. Allah, please help us. I mean,
I agree with you. A lot of people say that, and they don't do no research. They don't make no istikhara. They just keep saying that so they will have to move. But you know, it's deep. A lot of people, my wife and I were just talking, and you know, it's weird. Most of us fall into two extremes. And I'm not saying this is Yusuf here, but I'm saying a lot of people say that and don't do nothing and just stay where they at. And then other people, they barely make istikhara, they don't plan, and they just jump, they leap, they just go. Like a lot of people, and I advocate this. I believe some people need to go to Islamic Black Africa. I believe that they don't need to stay here. And there's some people that are doing that, and they ain't doing no research. They're not visiting first. They're not doing nothing. They just going. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, you don't really know what you're getting into, do you? Okay, right. Some people go in. You can tell by, because you know they post the stuff on Facebook. They're making all these. They telling everybody what their plans are. I'm like, well, you think you're gonna be doing that when you go over there? All right. Okay. All righty there. Right. And so I'm saying the same thing here. And just also before that, there's a brother who shall remain nameless because I don't have nothing good to say about it. He was part of a community, and he would tell people that make hijrah to the community where he's at. And this dude, he would have people thinking that his community was like the second coming of Medina Munawwara. You come here, we got this, we got that, this, that. Oh, it's popping. Everything's, oh man, yeah. There's people that made Hijra there. They was like, where's this, that, everything that you told me about, right? Nothing's going on. Nothing, zero. Barely Juma going on, right? That person didn't visit first. You believe what that joker was saying on Facebook, and you uprooted your whole family and moved there to find out nothing was going on.
That's sad. It ain't funny. It's funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. SubhanAllah. Woo. Mm.
And so, you know, when it's come time to make hijrah, do everything. Like research, go visit. Don't just go on Juma. Spend the whole week there. Interact with the people. Away from the imam. Everybody say nice, good Islamic stuff around the imam. Go off and see, like, you know, just see people. Just see how many people show up for Salat. See how many people show up for class. So you can get an idea of what's really going on. And see who is showing up to do what.
That's not necessarily a bad thing if people don't come.
Right.
You was already told what the deal was. Like
you saw with your own eyes. You see where you can fill in at. You see a blessing that the people here don't see.
SubhanAllah.
Now it'd be bad if I told you, oh man, when we be doing these on, like when we start this book, I'm gonna be in the Masjid, right? I can do like the green screen and have like 100 people in there, right? I don't even think 100 people fit on the Busella, but I can have 100 people on the green screen, right? I can have the audience. Can you make some sound effects for me? Every time I can press the button and it'll be like a whole bunch of people saying, Takbir, Allahu Akbar, right? Right? Like, oh man, this class is be packed, right? And then you come, right? like, oh, subhanAllah, oh, brother coming to class, right? Brother's coming to, I'm visiting you, man. I'm gonna come to class. I'm gonna come to your class at 4:30. All right. Oh, we're gonna be doing class from my house today, right? Why you not doing the class at the Masjid? Because I don't want you to see that I'm using the back the screen. Ain't really nobody be there, but one person floated through. No, but seriously, you gotta come visit more than one place. Like, for example, maybe in your mind, you thinking, man, I want to move to the communities of one of the Black Imams Roundtable Imams. You may be thinking, they all cool, they all good. Pittsburgh might not work for you. You may be better in Camden. You may be better in Atlantic City. Visit all three. We all working together anyway, right? There's some places I can't live, just like me, and it ain't got nothing to do with the people. I just can't live there. Like for me, I'm from New York City, and I'm tired of New York City. But I'm not that tired where I want to live in the middle of a cornfield. When we was growing up, they had the movie The Children of the Corn, and they showed all the corn falling down, right? They kick children, right? I don't want to live out there in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to live one town over from where Michael Myers is going to come from. So I grew up in New York. New York, too crowded, too busy for me. But the middle of cornfield, West Bubba F, middle of America, I don't want to live there either, right? I need to be somewhere in the middle, right? Everybody got different sentiments of where they can live at. So you got to figure out, okay, I'm from this environment, I'm used to it. I can be here. Like me, with Pittsburgh, I could be here. It ain't New York, but alhamdulillah, I could be here. I complain a lot, especially about they driving. They cannot drive in Pittsburgh. Ooh. Pittsburgh. Everybody, if you was born in Pittsburgh, You need to have your driver's license revoked automatically without no questions asked, and you need to reapply and take your driver's test again with a tester from another city in another state other than Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I hate Pittsburgh drivers. You know, in Pittsburgh, they have a tunnel monster. In Pittsburgh, there's a monster that's in the tunnel. Nobody has seen him yet, but he's there. And people are so scared of this tunnel monster that they automatically slam on the brake before they go into the tunnel. So just before you go into any tunnel in Pittsburgh, ain't nothing but tunnel and bridges here, right? It's a traffic jam. We don't know the reason for the traffic jam. It's 2 lanes before you get to the tunnel. It's 2 lanes in the tunnel. It's 2 lanes outside of the tunnel. But there's traffic before tunnel, no traffic in the tunnel, and no traffic on the other side of the tunnel. I told you why. There's a tunnel monster in Pittsburgh, and they scared, and they slam on the brake right before they get in the tunnel. That's Pittsburghers. And at intersections, if someone's turning, you got to have a full-blown conversation. There's no automatic, okay, you driving straight, you have the right of way. No, we got to make eye contact. No, you go. No, you go. No, you go, right? I'm sorry, that's just my rant. It's one thing I hate about Pittsburgh. I'll never get used to that.
That is true. Woo, subhanallah. Oh, subhanallah, you funny. That's true. Good. There's story for days as far as the driving is concerned.
But I like Pittsburgh. It ain't New York, right? It ain't the cornfield either, though. Alhamdulillah. And Abdurrahim think I'm talking about him, right? Because we was joking about him. Like, what? Y'all got a hood here? Like in Wichita, Kansas. Y'all got a hood here? Like, oh, man, wait. What do the drug dealers sell? Like, what y'all be corn dealers?
SubhanAllah. So, alhamdulillah. I'm glad Sister Sophia brought that up because I actually seen a post one time. I showed it to you. The sister got married, just took her stakes up and went where this brother was. He gave her all this, like what I got here. And she was nothing for her. Nothing. And it was like she gave away stuff, sold stuff, gave up her apartment, did everything to be with her man. And it's like, you can't do that. Even with that, if you have, get married to someone that's not in the same city, y'all got to discuss things like how things going to be. It's not easy to be giving up things that you have acquired and, what I'm saying, that's close to you. But she did that without planning, and it's obvious. She was like, okay, I'm getting married today, and then next week I'm going to move over there. No, you have to plan. So even though we're giving these suggestions, start off small, right? And if you're serious about going to a place, you want people to tell you what it looks like as far as the house market, jobs, things like that, or what have you, and what your function is going to be when you come, and be serious about it. Because you may not come to do a traditional job. You might be working in the masjid and people pay you. You understand? Like, there's so many things that you can work out, because this is on us to build. It looks the way we want it to look. Stop using these models everybody else got. It's not working for them. We got to use a model that works for us and be confident in that. Okay? So this is a conversation that we're going to have to keep having, because we got to do it, y'all. Look at that announcement with Superman. That upset me. These are things that our kids are exposed to. They're going to see it on a commercial. Even though they may not be watching certain things, they sneak that stuff up in commercials and advertisement. And if they read, books, it'll be in there. Like, come on now. We got to control what they read. So that means we're going to have people to publish books, children's books, reading books, coloring books, produce films, cartoons, all of that. We have all those skills in our community. But those skills go to everybody else to, propagate their stuff, but not with us. We need this stuff, right? We got teachers amongst us. We got people that have skills in, engineering and finance. Everything. We got it. But we gotta see the vision. If you don't have the vision, you're not gonna see what we see. And your heart is not gonna be in it, and you're not gonna be, committed and motivated. You gotta have the vision. Once you see it, it ain't nothing but a word. So let's start off small. Whatever we need to do, start off small. And look, like I said, it looks the way you want it. Who says we got to be stationary? Maybe we can have it where we go to different communities. You know what I mean? For a certain amount of times. Back in the days, they used to have like, what is it called? The word slipped my mind. Where people from out of the country would send their students, their children here.
Exchange student.
Exchange students. We can do that within our communities. You send your child over to a community. You may not be able to move, but your child, their time and their situation is more flexible than yours. You want your son to be around other boys his age that are Muslim. You find a family that will adopt him. I don't mean literally adopt him, but they take him in and they live amongst them. We already seen it with Imam Amin and Abdulaziz. He took him in for 2 years. And look what that produced. So we can do that amongst ourselves. You may not be able to move or ready to move, but you got children. And you want them to have the opportunity to see your community. This thing is what we make it. SubhanAllah. This is what we make it. So inshallah, we're going to close out 2 hours. We didn't even talk about the topic we intend on doing today. But alhamdulillah, this was well worth it. And if you missed the first part, please do the replay and put in your suggestions. Go send Imam Amin, or Imam Naeem or Imam Fahim an inbox and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Be about what you say you're about. Don't just make the claim. And be sincere. Have sincerity. Because we can do this. We just got to put our minds to it, inshallah. With that being said, I want to thank everyone for participating. Alhamdulillah, we appreciate you. We love you for the sake of Allah. You are a family. And without you, this show would not be a success. And we thank you for standing by us and being, there for us and making dua for us, because it's obvious that you're doing that. And we keep you in our duas as well. Alhamdulillah. It's Jum'ah, so inshallah, send abundant prayers upon the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Alhamdulillah, make dua for the ummah. Mashallah. Don't forget your family. Don't forget us, because we need each other. We are all we got. Mashallah. And with that being said, thank you, my host, Imam Naeem. I thank you for being a host. Thank you for putting up with me. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you.
You still got a couple more days of detention left.
Hmm?
You still got a couple more days of detention left.
That's okay. Long as it's spent with you, Habibi, it ain't detention. Alhamdulillah. But alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you all. May Allah, give you what you need. May Allah ease your heart, ease your pain, ease whatever situation that you're going through. Without, with every difficulty, there is ease. As soon as something happens, Allah got ease that's coming right behind it. Not sure when it's going to come, but you got to truly trust that. That's the life of a believer. This world is a prison for us. And it's a heaven, a Jannah for the disbelievers. So check your mindset, okay? With that being said, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal asra innal insana lafi khusra illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Al-Fatiha. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.